You are listening to episode number 215. I wish I could celebrate with my ex. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, breakup coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. Welcome, Braveheart. I'm so excited you're here to listen to the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast. This is the Netflix of breakups, short, powerful, and actionable episodes that help you along your breakup journey. If you're interested in a more hands-on approach, I'd love to invite you to check out our free on-demand video training called How to Fast Forward Getting Over Your Ex Without Wasting Months or Years Feeling Jealous, Angry, or Unlovable. You'll learn how to stop letting your ex live rent-free in your mind, even if you want to get back together later, how to absolutely be sure that your life will be better than the one that you had with your ex post-breakup without it taking time, and lastly, the secret to feeling completely neutral about your ex without having to go no contact. Grab it for free at breakupcoachdorothy.com. Let's begin the episode. Hello, beautiful Bravehearts. How are you doing today? You guys, it's crazy. I have been recording this podcast with a $20 Amazon mic that I bought in the very beginning. And I went ahead and I was like, let's upgrade. Let's get a nice mic. And I do it. And I actually don't like the sound of the new mic. And so today I am back recording on my old mic and we'll just see how it goes. But it has been such a wild ride lately. I am teaching figure skating to 5 and 6-year-olds, which is my most favorite thing, even though it's kind of crazy that we have kids having blades on their feet, but it has been so fun. It lights my whole world up lately. I also started volunteering at the Valerie House organization, which I'm sure I'll just talk more about in future episodes, but I've been really loving my life lately and just living into the mother that I want to be, even though I don't have a physical child. So today we are talking about celebrating and how after a breakup, things can come up in life where we want to share it with our ex, right? We want to tell them what happened. We want to celebrate with him or her. And maybe it's something you've been working towards with that partner even, or perhaps it was something that they helped you accomplish. So this came up because I had someone on Instagram reach out and ask about this whole topic. And then last week, I coached an amazing, beautiful Braveheart on this where she passed her boards exam in the United States. She's from another country. She moved here. But she was feeling sad. And at the same time, she really wanted to feel excited and celebrate such a huge accomplishment. And with both, I actually truthfully really resonated with this topic. And it was something that I haven't spent a lot of time talking about on the podcast, but I do have personal experience with when I was in my relationship with Matthew. For those of you who don't know, it was my relationship after the big breakup in 2016 that kind of started all of this. You know, he was the person that was there giving, when I was giving out breakup advice on the street for free. He was there when I said I was going to spend $18,000 on life coach certification when I didn't have that $18,000. And he was there when I was working 2 jobs to be able to do breakup coaching, and I had no money. I barely had any clients. He would attend my Facebook Lives when no one else would, so that at least it looked like one other person was there. And he was even the person who took all of my branding photos. So even the podcast cover photo, that is a photo that he took. So post-breakup with him in 2020, my business was just starting to take off. And I remember one of the biggest obstacles I worked through in overcoming that heartbreak of me leaving that relationship was I really wanted to go straight to him and tell him about all of the big monumental things happening in the business. And that just wasn't his place anymore. And that was one of the hardest things that I struggled with. So yeah, I really understand this whole topic. I also think right now is a good time to talk about this topic because we're moving into the holidays and we're approaching this time where you might be used to celebrating this year, right? Starting the new year with your partner, entering Christmas with your partner. So let's dive in. There are a couple of points I want to touch on, 3 to be exact, okay? The first one being celebrating in life is not all or nothing. After heartbreak, it's almost like we believe it has to be all pain, all sadness, grief, loss, devastation. It feels all consuming. So we think it's all of that. And don't get me wrong, that's natural and needed. And we talk about feeling our feelings in multiple episodes here, but it doesn't have to be 24 hours, 7 days a week. What? This also goes the other way as well. Just because something amazing has happened doesn't mean we need to feel excited and elated and amazing 24/7. It doesn't have to be all excitement and zero pain, but nor does it have to be all pain and zero excitement and celebration. It can be both. We can be excited and disappointed. We can be elated and feel empty. We can be celebratory and discouraged. The and is very welcomed here. And the thing I think is important right here is being honest and vulnerable, not only with yourself, but more importantly with others during a time like this. Instead of giving a fake smile and saying, "Thank you, I'm really excited and proud of what happened," right? That is going to only create disconnection. I don't know if that's a word even, but it amplifies loneliness because you're lying to yourself and to other people. You're trying to fake it until you make it, which feels very inauthentic, which doesn't create a real connection. It actually amplifies your loneliness when we try to fake it and smile and say, "Thank you, I'm so excited and proud," when we also have a whole secondary thing going on. And I want you to think about what would it be like to say, "Thank you so much. I actually really want to be excited." And a part of me is, but I'm also experiencing extreme heartbreak right now. And I totally thought I'd be, celebrating this huge monumental thing with my partner, but we aren't. So I'm also feeling heartbroken at the same time as excited. And I want you to take a moment, and could you imagine if someone came to you and said that? Someone was in the midst of a really big milestone in their life and they said that to you. That's the most honest and real, raw thing. It's so refreshing. And instantly, if someone told me that, I'd be like, "Girl, I get that. I feel that. I totally understand that." And instantly, we've then created a deeper connection. Instantly, when you're that authentic, vulnerable, real, raw you've reduced loneliness because you've opened up and you're being yourself. And that gives the ability for another human to show up in their authentic way. And that's so beautiful. Another way to say this is "Hey, I really want to celebrate this really big milestone in my life. And at the same time, I'm feeling really sad and disappointed that the person I thought I'd be celebrating this with is no longer in my life. Would you be open to helping me celebrate this and make it something big for myself?" And I recently did this with a group of my new girlfriends. I haven't really made a lot of my own new in real life person friends here in Florida. I've just started to make that a priority this year. And I've been hanging out with this group of girls. We watched The Golden Bachelor. And in the midst of all that, I hit a really big milestone in my business. And I haven't really been celebrating big milestones in my business like I used to with my ex Matthew. He would do things kind of unwarranted or I wouldn't have to ask him. He would buy champagne, balloons, take me out to dinner, right? But I haven't had that for a while. And so I mentioned to one of my new girlfriends that I was really excited about this huge milestone at work. And at the same time, I was feeling a little bit isolated or alone in the celebration of this. And I wasn't sure what to do, but I was like, "Can we use our next Thursday night when The Bachelor comes out to celebrate this at girls' night?" And I was like, "I'll bring champagne and we can do a little toast before." And what was really cool and very unexpected and not something that I thought was going to happen but did, was that they actually surprised me and made it more into like a surprise celebration. They made a cake that said Millionaire Mama, which was so heartwarming with everything I've experienced in the last year of the miscarriage and wanting to be a mom and all that stuff. And the wild part is that it just made me feel so much more connected to these women on such a deeper level. And it started with me being honest about where I was at, honest and asking for what I was, wanting in my life. And it took vulnerability for me to say that. I think to the outside world, I look like maybe not that I have it all together, but that I'm this strong, very fiercely independent person. And I am, but I do crave deep connection. And it was really cool to take the number of friendships in this group. It felt like it took the friendships from this surface level to a deep friendship. I would consider these people like my family away from family now at this point. And so that was just a really cool experience and an example of what that might look like. So what would it look like for you to just be open and honest and vulnerable with those around you when it comes to this celebration, whether it's a milestone you hit, whether it's your birthday coming up, or perhaps just the holidays? Okay. This brings me to the second point. Celebration is not isolated to your ex. So just because you're going through heartbreak doesn't mean you can't celebrate. It doesn't mean you can't experience an afternoon or even just an hour of your time feeling proud and grateful, excited, or maybe even elated about what's just happened. Now, you need to figure out what celebration is to you. What kind of celebrating do you want to do now that you have full say in what that looks like? Because maybe you haven't even been celebrating in a way that feels most aligning with you up until this point, right? Maybe your ex would celebrate by going out and eating and drinking, but instead you want to do a spa day and get to bed early, right? I also like to think about my future self, right? How does she celebrate? For me, my future self is in a lovely, beautiful, healthy, just, partner in crime kind of marriage. We have our baby Marilyn and we have our family. And I think about how would she celebrate something big in her life? And that's with in an intimate group with her closest people with a glass of champagne. I love it. That's how I see it. And I had recently had a client inside of the Get Over Your Ex program celebrate that in a way that she was very excited. It was very cool. It was just, she came on to our coaching call and she's like, I actually don't need coaching. I just want to take this moment to celebrate something really big. Is I realized that this year, I don't have to feel confused or anxious or upset about the fact that my boyfriend wasn't planning Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's with me. It was constantly, that pulling teeth experience of well, what are we doing? And she doesn't have to skirt around things anymore. And she just got to celebrate and make amazing, epic plans for the holidays. She has an amazing plan for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, and for New Year's. And she made it for herself. And she doesn't have to experience that confusion, that worry, that anxious experience anymore because she just gets to decide and go execute and do. So get really clear about what does celebration look like to you. Now, lastly, I want to remind to you that what you project, you will create. Meaning, if you think you will have a miserable time celebrating, you'll make sure you have a miserable time celebrating. I cannot make that any more clear. If you think and talk about having a miserable time celebrating, that is what you will create. But I just want to offer that there are other options. You don't have to be miserable celebrating. You could be both sad and happy. You could be excited and disappointed, but you do not have to be miserable for the 2 to 6 hours you spend celebrating. Give yourself 2 to 6 hours of your time and let yourself be happy. It's so weird. I'm just going to go on a sidebar just real quick, but it's funny to me how the brain thinks emotions last forever. I have been feeling devastated forever. I have so many people come to me and say, I've been feeling devastated and just terrible forever for a long time. But it's when you're asleep, you're probably not feeling that way. When you're deep in a task at work, you're probably not feeling that way. The other day I was feeling kind of down, dreary the whole day, it felt like. But then I went to skating. And for the hour and a half that I was there skating, I felt fulfilled. I felt occupied, content, even playful or giddy. And then after skating, I was feeling grateful. Just think about in one day how many emotions you actually do experience. Typically, it's not one emotion for the whole day. And I think that perhaps sometimes we're only paying attention to our emotions when we're feeling feelings we don't like. So I want you to even think about did I miss the fact that I felt just a moment of joy? Did I miss the fact that I felt just a moment of occupied and content? Okay, that was a sidebar. But anyways, don't project misery onto yourself. Project a beautiful celebration with love and connection to others. You can have that. Get creative. Give yourself permission to feel good for just an afternoon. Another example of this is I really couldn't wait to have Marilyn's first birthday party. So for those of you who are new to the podcast, I named my unborn child Marilyn. I'm not even pregnant. I'm not working to conceive, none of that. But I had a miscarriage in November and I named her Marilyn, all this stuff. So long story short, I couldn't wait to have this baby's first birthday party. And when I had the miscarriage and realized I wasn't going to have a baby right now, instead, I decided to have a 2-year birthday party for my Great Dane Tinkerbell. So it was really great. It didn't mean I wasn't void of sadness, but the experience that I wanted, I created, no matter who was in my life, baby or no baby. And actually, my client Lisa is a very good example of this. She's been on the podcast before. She does an amazing job at this. She didn't project misery during her divorce. She projected a refreshed party-like energy, an energy of celebration and revitalization, right? Her and her friends actually threw her a reverse bachelorette party and she enjoyed it. What? Because she projected herself enjoying it. That's available. And everything in between. It doesn't have to be misery or huge party celebration. It could be something in between. So here's the thing, Braveheart. When you find yourself wishing you could celebrate with your ex, whether it's a milestone you hit in your life, a birthday, or the holidays, I want you to do 3 things. First, be honest and vulnerable with yourself and others about how you really are feeling and what you're thinking. You can be excited and disappointed. It's not all or nothing or either or. The second thing is figure out what celebration would look like to you and how you want to celebrate and convey that information to anyone who needs to know it. Don't keep it to yourself and expect people to read your mind. And 3, project what you want this to look like. Look at the options rather than just worrying about being miserable. Look at what do I want this to be like? What would be my ideal scenario? All right, in conclusion, my beautiful Bravehearts, you don't have to be void of sadness to also celebrate the big things happening in your life. I want you to allow for both. Allow for the sadness while also recognizing that this is a moment to celebrate, to be proud of, to have a little light in your dark, okay? Be honest and vulnerable, even when it's scary, with yourself and others about how you're feeling. That will deepen connection. You do not have to put on a brave face. And in fact, being a brave heart means allowing the emotion and connecting deeply with others through that emotion. You will have deeper, more fulfilling relationships with others when you're honest and vulnerable about how you're truly feeling and let others help you celebrate in a way that is most authentic to you, right? The you are today and the you are becoming. And lastly, please, please, please project a beautiful celebration, one filled with love and hope and connection and just a little bit of room for grief. All right, my Bravehearts, I love you so much. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you next time. If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you'd like to learn how to fast forward getting over your ex without spending months or years feeling angry, jealous, or unlovable, I would love to personally invite you to participate in our free on-demand video training, where we share 3 mind-blowing moments that will forever change your experience with your breakup or divorce. Come check it out at breakupcoachdorothy.com.